This is the Bronx. You've probably heard about it. You may even have a pretty solid image in your head of what it looks like, what it is like. Or maybe you can't picture it at all. The South Bronx sounds familiar as a bad thing, and the Bronx at one time was said to be burning, wasn't it? For the most part, the Bronx is overlooked, the never-visited borough in New York City, which is a shame because the Bronx is a magical place with its own energy, its own food, vibe, and rhythm. You've been to Brooklyn. Maybe it's time you took a look at the Bronx.
In August of 1973, the sister of DJ Kool Herc was holding a birthday party for herself in the basement of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. As Kool Herc was playing the music on his 2-disc turntable, he began to slow the music down, slow the record. People stood up and took notice, and they began asking him to do it again. He did it again. They asked him to do it again and again. He did it again. He attracted more and more people to his performances, and people began to imitate him. And that was the beginning of hip-hop music. It started in the Bronx.
Moody's Records. Inside, rummaging for records just like he used to do, is the man, the legend, one of the very select few who started it all, who created the sound that hundreds of millions of people now claim as their own. Google who created hip-hop. Go ahead. You get DJ Kool Herc. It's a national landmark now, isn't it? Sedgwick?
No, it's not. We're working on it.
Working on it.
We're working, but it's
Matter
still,
of time.
it's still the birthplace of hip-hop, undisputed, because I didn't start it with 4 guys in a club. I was inside a residential building. At the time, it wasn't really receiving the building. We had a watchful eye over the recreation room. So she was watching for any disturbance. It never happened. And that's how it survived, because good music sells itself. Good drugs sell itself.
Yeah.
Good anything sell itself. And this was something good.
Was there a moment when you realized, whoa, this is big. This is gonna be, this is gonna spread way beyond my neighborhood?
I never look at that. I saw the spreading, but when I see Barney Rebel and Fred Flintstone, rest up like Jam Master Jay, you know, the DMC fellas. When I see that, to sell commercial on Madison Avenue, I know it was going. It was going. It don't take a big lift. So let's say I don't have money and all that. Nah, I'm rich in other ways. When Time magazine said what music was created inside the United States, you got Louis Armstrong for jazz, you got Elvis Presley for rock and roll, which that could be between him and Chuck Berry, and you got Kool Herc for hip hop.
Feel good?
Very good.
Historically, from the last third of the 19th century into about 1920, the second language spoken in the Bronx was German. From about 1930 to about 1960, the second language spoken in the Bronx was Yiddish. From about 1965 onward, the second language spoken in the Bronx is Spanish, and that's the way it is today.
It's got a reputation as a tough place. Crime, street gangs, a lot of which goes back to the way it was, and some of which, well, like I said, it's got a reputation as being tough. The Bronx is, let's face it, a big blank space in a lot of people's minds. Even people like me who live, 10 minutes away? We don't know anything about that big area between Yankee Stadium and the Bronx Zoo. What you should know is that the Bronx is big, really big, and that it's a patchwork of ethnic enclaves, a cross-section of the whole world. Every immigrant group you could think of. Justin Fornal, a.k.a. Baron Ambrosia, has taken it upon himself to serve as the Bronx's culinary ambassador.
Let the dinner begin! This is the porcupine.
An evangelist for the cause of introducing the manifold, splendiferous delights of this mighty borough to the ignorant, well, like me.
No.
He's got a show on the TV, and he throws parties where he serves creatures that would make Andrew Zimmern turn gray and slump unconscious to the floor. Showman iconoclast, explorer, and gourmet.
Bronx is so multifaceted, but for some reason, this is the first place I always take people, because this just oozes and emanates kind of that flavor of the Bronx.
And he knows what I like. Places like this. 188 Cuchifritos on 188th Street in the Grand Concourse. Old school, New York, Puerto Rican good stuff. Get within 20 feet of this place and prepare to lose your freaking mind.
The cuchifrito itself is basically fried pig. The ears and the tongue chopped up and deep fried.
So off-cut pig parts, deep fried? Well,
deep
what's
fried.
not to like about
Right.
that? Is that the shank there?
Yeah, the pernil, the shoulder. We're gonna get that in there.
Oh, yeah.
Big piece of chicharron, the skin just chopped up.
So skin,
Fat.
skin and fat.
Yeah. It's almost like a little meat candy bar.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Some morcilla.
Morcilla for sure.
Always morcilla.
And then what else? We need some plátano.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, I missed you.
The Bronx to me became the place where I could really engage my bacchanalian sensibility. You know,
Right.
you could really just come here, eat, drink, wine, woman, song, and just indulge.
This is pretty much the center of the pork universe as I've ever seen it in New York. I don't know any place porkier than what I'm looking at.
This is exactly the kind of thing I thought we'd lost in New York, that one after the other faded away in the neighborhoods I lived in. And all along, it was there, right underfoot, a gusher of porky goodness.
I mean, there's a great line, which is, they say in France, Switzerland, c'est le Bronx, which is, you know, what do you think, this is the Bronx? And, you know, this idea of if, you know, the music's really loud or someone's making a mess. To me, I take that as a point of pride. To be the Bronx is where the music is loud. The Bronx is where the men are tough, the women are sexy, and the food is spicy. If those things weren't true, you wouldn't know what the Bronx was.
So its bad reputation is what protects it.
I think the
some of
perception, the perception of it being a place where the funk is alive.
An incredible spread.
Yeah, man, this is great. This is one of the places you'll just kind of dream about it. Like, was I really there? I'm going back. I'm going to go back just to make sure that place was really there.
I just can't lay off this pork. It's insane. I'm actually gonna get a to-go order.
Yo, love for my haters, forgiveness for my enemies, move spectators, I'm the day that they shot Kennedy.
I'm from the Bronx, New York, and I don't beg your pardon. I was 12 or 13 when hip-hop was starting.
Just go and take a minute to listen to what these fools spit. It's pure uncut garbage.
Don't touch my fader, just let me bump, feel my energy up.
No logic. A bunch of false prophets pushing a poisonous product.
I'm not hard to find. I'm right by the zoo, by the gorilla cage. Holla at me, baby. Ooh, ooh. Watch it.
Kidnap souls and minds for ransom, all for the dream of the cream, the drop top phantoms with thug anthems written in mansions, affluent, poorest of minds with inner city crimes and truants. A pledge of allegiance to hood genius means that the dream of Malcolm and King was an inconvenience, a prelude to young black minds.
First to call himself an MC, another pioneer, Melly Mel. In 1982, he and Grandmaster Flash wrote and recorded The Message, an album that was a complete and groundbreaking departure from the kind of lyrics and content up to that point.
Before we started doing hip-hop music, it was no hip-hop music, so we played everything. We played disco, we played reggae, we played rock, we watched Hee Haw. That was like the favorite in our house. That was one of the favorite shows, Hee Haw, you know. And all of those things kind of became the components of what became hip-hop music.
From the pouring rain to the burning sand, here I stand, my weapon is a mic in my hand, and though I strive to be the strongest man alive, y'all sold out quicker than the iPhone 5.
I started out as a breakdancer, so I used to break dance. You know, my brother used to, you know, do graffiti. I used to go. So all of those individual elements wasn't really happening anywhere else. So it was just something that could only have went on right in that area in the Bronx.
Yeah, okay, you may be thinking, what about the Sugar Hill Gang? What about them? They were an industry band like the Monkees or the Archies, built to cash in quick on what was seen as a fad. And they did cash in.
Where were you when you suddenly realized, holy shit, there's money in this?
Well, that first record I ever heard was King Tim III. The second, and the most popular record was Rappers Alike. I used to live on the 5th floor walk-up. I walked out, somebody was playing it next door. They was playing it on the 4th floor. They was playing on the 3rd floor, 2nd floor, 1st floor. Somebody had a boombox outside playing it. The car that drove by had it on.
Right.
You could hear nothing. It was like a plague. It was like locusts. And that's when I realized, you know, it's something that was beyond what we was doing out in the street. Critically, it's not a great record, but if you play it right now, it's still, you know, it's still a good record.
In this case, at least, history has come around. Today, nobody looks back at the Sugar Hill Gang as having been originals or innovators. People know who did what.
As far as hip-hop now, like as far as the music now, these guys are not trying to tell a story of their time at all. Okay, yeah, they popped a lot of bottles. Oh, yeah, they had sex with a lot of women, and they drove a lot of expensive cars, and nothing else happened. But you would never know that it was a black president. You would never know that it was 2 wars. You would never know those things because it's not reflected in the music. And at some point, somebody was supposed to step up and make those songs. 20 years from now, they'll still be talking about The Message and Planet Rock and all the classic records. You know what I mean? So that's what it is.
Robert Moses has been dead over 30 years now. And people in the Bronx, for the most part, still hate him. In his role as master builder, he rammed the Cross Bronx Expressway and the Parkway system straight through dozens of working-class neighborhoods, seemingly uncaring about the destruction of whole communities. Massive housing projects conceived as utopian solutions to stacking the poor into centralized vertical ghettos were also his bright idea. He did leave some pretty impressive dam works behind, though, like the Triborough Bridge, Flushing Meadows Park, the Verrazzano Bridge. The Bronx happens to be the home of the 2 largest parks in New York City, Pelham Bay and Van Cortlandt. And you see stuff here you probably ain't seeing in Central Park. The Garifuna come from Honduras, Guatemala, and Belize, and they trace their ethnic group back to a single slave ship that crashed off St. Vincent and whose freed Africans then mixed with Carib Indians. Where is home for many of the Garifuna community living in the U.S.? You guessed it, the Bronx.
Living in the Bronx, you're able to kind of travel the world without leaving the borough.
Right.
And, you know, it's like an addiction. When you go to another country, that first day in the market,
Yeah.
and all your dreams and the smell of the diesel, and you're just looking around like, where's that one thing I'm looking for? To be able to do that really in your own backyard is
Cool.
We have a hudutu, that's coconut soup with fish. Over here, we had a tapo.
Oh, that looks
neck
good.
bone with banana, yuca, yautía, malanga, and coconut soup.
Well, that sounds good. Yeah, I'll go for that. Some neck bones and plantains. Yeah, let's do that.
So, let's put some plantain here.
In Garifuna cuisine, mashed plantains come with just about every dish.
plantains are just part of it. That's part of hudutu. You would never have this without the plantains.
So it's like fufu.
Yeah,
Same,
absolutely. Same method, same right hand,
same principle.
Same everything.
There's fish and coconut soup.
What kind of fish is this?
Bluefish.
Bluefish. Oh, awesome. I love bluefish.
And some nice smoked neck bones with bananas and yucca.
That's officially awesome already. Ooh, that's tasty. That's really good. An underexploited fish, one of my favorites. So, you know what I've noticed already? The Bronx is big. How ludicrous and shameful is it that I can literally see my house from here and I basically have no idea where I am?
I mean, no fault on your own, but I think that's kind of what keeps the Bronx so amazing is that you have all these in-touch ethnic enclaves.
I didn't know there were Hondurans here, much less 200,000 Garifuna. No clue.
Right.
I've been saying the neck is the next big thing for years now. Still waiting.
People from all over the world reside in the Bronx. As a matter of fact, we have residents from every continent on the face of the earth. And if you count the penguins in the Bronx Zoo, that includes Antarctica.
Wellspring of hip-hop is right around here, a mostly Jamaican community in Bronx River in the South Bronx. Jamaicans began arriving here back in the 50s, and still today, Jamaican food, Jamaican culture, the music is all over. Sundial International Headquarters, makers of traditional tonics and herbal remedies, a Bronx institution since the 70s.
This is one of the ingredients. This is the mahogany bark. This one is used for any type of bodily weaknesses.
Baba Rashan Abdul Hakim, or Pops Baba as he's called, a grassroots bush doctor, healer. He uses recipes passed down from mothers and aunties, blends of roots, spices, herbs, barks, and woods.
If you take the wood root in the morning or the bitters at night, don't care what is wrong with you, you're going to show improvement.
Whatever ails, he's got a cure. Wood root cure for the blood, the body, the nerves. Coromantee, an intestinal cleanser, and traditional African man back. Helps you get your manhood back, among other things.
It was about 1956 when I came to America. So I used to make it in the apartment in Bronx River. And then when I'm boiling roots, the whole project smell of this roots. They used to jive them. Hey, what your father doing in there? What kind of focus in there doing, you know what I mean? And I'd buckle it and go on the corner and I'd sell it in the Bronx. Never leave. The Bronx is the best place in America, man. Nowhere like the Bronx.
In the yard out back, some freshly roasted coffee. And this man, a Tyrannosaurus Rex of music, a man who changed the world for generations, Afrika Bambaataa. Bambaataa and Pops Baba go back together to the same housing projects.
You know James Brown record, Papa Don't Play No Mess?
Yes.
Well, that's the Big Baba. Brother Rashad, that's right.
He and his associates in the Zulu Nation were absolutely instrumental in shaping what became hip-hop culture. Breakdancing, graffiti, DJing, and rap.
Is the story true that you soak your records in water and take the label off?
Oh yeah, so either we put tapes on it or we soak the label off. You know, you had spies in each other camps, you know, trying to find out what was that beat Bambaataa playing. So I used to soak it up. I used to put tape to cover the records, and we was digging in the crates hard.
You were unusually voracious in your musical taste. Of all the records in the world, how did you come upon Kraftwerk?
I came about digging in the crate down in the village. I said, this look type of weirdo here. So when I took it home and I heard this sound, I said, whoa. I said, this is some funky, I said, man, this is some futuristic type of funk here, whether they didn't know they was doing some style of funk. And thus came the birth of the electro-funk sound, the Miami bass sound. And since the beginning, we always paid tribute to James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, and George Parliament Funkadelic Clinton for bringing the funk from which the hip-hop came and the reggae, and to, you know, all the pioneers of hip-hop.
The 2s and the 5s here are the greatest trains because they go from Bronx through Manhattan all the way through Brooklyn. So it's the only numbered lines that'll get 3 boroughs, you know, visibility.
The Bronx, still here.
Yeah, it's still here. But you know, like even that,
mean, that brings me back, Tony, that sound.
Do you remember the first time you put spray paint on a wall?
Yeah.
When was that?
Summer of '70.
Back then, seemingly overnight, they were everywhere. Princes of the city. Their pieces stretching across city blocks, whole trains, ever more audacious. Some, like this man, were artists.
In the late '70s, to be on a rooftop like this with a brew or whatever hanging out, we're waiting for something to come through with a cool letter, like, oh my God, look at that T. And so, you know, kids are screaming like, oh my God, look, oh my God, you know, here it comes, here it comes. And then
There's mine.
There's mine, there's mine. But what if you thought the train you painted, you know, was on the left side, and then you kind of messed up. And oh no, it's on the right side. And no, you're not screwed. You just wait till this train goes all the way to Brooklyn and comes all the way back.
This was the audience that you had in mind?
Well,
The audience that mattered?
I think all of us spoke to each other back then.
Other artists?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was just a rush of the event, and then the accolades you may or may not receive, certainly not from the public, but from your peers.
Futura 2000. His style and that of a few of his colleagues spread across the globe. I miss those trains. Others, not so much. I get it. It went on until there seemed there wasn't an untagged, unmarked, unscrawled upon bit of wall or window in New York. But for a while, it was a golden time.
Well, the whole point of being here
Yeah.
was, to me, what the Bronx was about. Not just the music and the scene and coming up here to parties with the likes of Bam and Herc and, you know, everyone of that era, but it's watching trains. It's what we used to call benching.
So you're watching each other's work go by?
Absolutely.
Art lovers.
This was his museum, where he and his fellow artists would meet and exchange ideas and admire each other's work. And it's jarring coming to learn all those years later that it was really all about this, about a few seconds as their pieces rode by to be evaluated by peers. There for a moment, then gone. Like, well, all of their work from that time, long since removed or painted over.
Ultimately, the legacy, you know, here's our legacy. You know, we don't have a movement anymore. The movement has been given to the world. And if you go to trains in Milan and, you know, Paris or wherever, you know, certainly not the Russian system, but, you know, if you go to some of these cities around the world, they're bombed. You know, their rail systems are destroyed. But I mean, today, if I could have a train running,
That would be
it
nice.
would be epic. And I think any artist, Picasso, any artist from any generation, if that concept was available, like, here's some public art, guys, let it run through our countryside.
The first European settler to come to the Bronx came in 1639. His name was Jonas Bronck, B-R-O-N-C-K. In 1874, all the area west of the Bronx River was annexed to the city. And in 1895, all the areas east of the Bronx River was annexed to the city. Then in 1898, the city decided that the two areas previously annexed should also become a borough. But what to call it, since it never had a name before? They looked at the map, and right smack through the middle of the territory ran the Bronx River, so they named it after the river, the borough of the Bronx. And that's why it is called the Bronx, and not just plain Bronx.
If you have a question about the Bronx, chances are Lloyd Ultan has the answer. Born and raised here, he's never really left for over 7 decades. This is a disappearing aspect of New York for sure. The real thing Jewish deli. Liebman's is one of the last. There used to be dozens of places where you could get your brisket, chopped liver, a good pastrami, some pickles, with a black cherry soda or a celery, of course, to drink.
The World Series is going on. Howard Cosell is on the air. Suddenly you see a tongue of flame licking up into the sky. And he says, "This is the kind of thing that Jimmy Carter saw. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bronx is burning." The old image of the Bronx as middle class, upwardly mobile, healthy area had survived up until 1977. This shattered it.
Right. The Bronx was burning, went the story, and that stuck. Politicians making the South Bronx a poster child for what was hopelessly wrong, would always be wrong, would never, we were told, get any better.
So we now have what you call a slumlord, essentially.
Yes, right.
Who's snapping up large numbers of buildings.
Yeah, first of all, he takes out a huge fire insurance policy. So as he goes to these junkies, and he says, listen, you see that empty apartment on the top floor? I'm gonna turn my back. You take all of the lead pipes that are in there. But I have one request, please. Before you leave, turn on the water, and the water comes down, driving everybody else out. They then hire an arsonist and sets fire to the building. They collect all the money, and they leave.
I remember it well. I remember those years. Things were bad. Are things borough-wide? Are things getting better?
Is the Bronx better? Absolutely. There is more home ownership in the South Bronx than had ever existed in history. That doesn't mean that we have reached utopia. We have not. How long it will take? I'm a historian. I look in the other direction. I would say my crystal ball is cracked.
I got 4 cheeseburgers for the Bronx.
Is it the best hamburger in the world? Far from it, my friends. Is it even, strictly speaking, a burger? I mean, it's small and square and steamed. It can be, especially when you eat a lot of them, as one tends to, a hate-yourself-in-the-morning experience. But if you grew up with White Castle, like I did, and like Handsome Dick Manitoba did, this connects with some deep dinosaur part of the brain, evoking a powerful emotional response.
These are a great cultural part of my childhood. We'd come here 24 hours a day. There were guys on their dates. There was a bunch of punk rock kids. So along with that potpourri of humanity I just described, you had these guys from the mental institution.
That's community for you.
That was the Bronx. That was the Bronx, man. It was great.
Maybe you know Handsome Dick from such pre-punk legendary bands as The Dictators. Dick grew up, where else? The Athens, the cultural geyser, the font of art and music that is the Bronx. And back in the day, like me, this was his special, warm, and happy place.
I can go by and eat a full 2.5-hour meal, be stuffed, and see someone eating a White Castle. I still want one. You can forget Mickey D's, you can forget Burger King, you forget all those places. If you need a White Castle scratch, none of the cheap places will do. I can't stop eating these.
The Bronx Academy of Letters is something of a cause for me, an institution whose mission I see is absolutely vital if kids, like these kids, from a tough neighborhood, often coming from tough family situations, are going to do the things that they're capable of having the things they want. I believe that there is no way to realize your dreams if you can't articulate them, if you can't, with words, convince others to give you the opportunities, the chances you need to grasp.
So I wanted to talk today, really, I'm going to tell you in a short period of time, everything I know about writing.
Today, I'm dropping by in my role as substitute teacher.
I'm from Manhattan, and I don't know anything about the Bronx, really. I'm ridiculously, shamefully ignorant. Do you think people know about the Bronx, what it's like to grow up in the Bronx?
Everybody perceives the Bronx as the emergence of hip-hop and all that, the culture. But apart from that, the Bronx is actually lively at all times, at night, and in the morning. You hear people screaming from outside your window.
I've grown up with them since I was, what? Like 7. Yeah, you know, and it just happened that way. So I feel like the sense of community is like the biggest thing.
I've been teaching here for 8 years, and I think that what people forget is a lot of times, we've talked about this in class, they focus on lots of diseases, health issues, lack of education, but I can be out with them just walking to the train to go to a field trip, and they say hi to at least 30 people. They know everyone.
What other Bronx specialties should I be paying attention to?
Well, I don't know, I've always been a fan of McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this.
That works for you?
Yes.
All right.
Bacon tastes really good.
I like bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Yeah, well, that's a classic. That's a New York classic. The sort of bodega classic. The egg and cheese. Love that.
Now you walk outside and they have like the Italian ices.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as like the weather gets nice and you hear coquito, dame, like I think that's the mistake.
So what is it you're eating? What is chopped cheese?
Yeah. Chopped cheese.
What is chopped cheese? I have to see. Where does this come from? This mutant cheese?
This thing, whatever it is, it'll do just fine. As long as you're reading Orwell's essays while you're eating it, kid.
I think it was somebody who just experimented in their house because it's such a simple thing, but it tastes so different than like a cheeseburger, which is what it kind of is actually.
But it's weird if you go way uptown or like downtown, you say can I get chopped cheese and they're like, what? Right. Like but if you get it here, they're like, all right, come right up.
So this is a regional indigenous specialty.
And it's newer too,
Right.
right? It hasn't been around that long.
I've been everywhere in the world, and I mean just about everywhere in the world that you can think of. As beautiful as many cities around the world are, it's really in your blood, and particularly if you grew up here. You're living in Paris, you're gonna want a chopped cheese sandwich, and you'll be angry that you can't get one.
So there it is. A peek, a narrow slice of an old, deep, and noble subject.
Causing your poor existence, the morph into a vicious, remorseless, lost, relentless, illogical compass.
Sitting right there, relatively unexplored, a cross-section of the tasty, original good stuff.
So gritty, I'm grimy. Got my city behind me.
A petri dish for talent, for culture. The great unknown. Go look.
BX, Armageddon.